Welcome to Trust Talks. Today, I have the privilege of talking to the CISO with the best smile in the business, Mr. Myke Lyons. Myke, thank you for joining us today.
You're too kind, Sravish. Good to see you.
In your mind, what does trust mean to you as a CISO?
It comes down to transparency. There's a level of transparency that an institution should be able to hit,
Yep.
depending on the risk that's associated with the use case and or the data therein, that we should strive for. If I am in a Lodo scenario, a lights on, doors open, frontline worker type scenario that requires an acceptable level of discretion on their part, the data types are sensitive, the information may not be whole.
Yeah.
It's a different type of security assessment. If I'm working with financial data, regulated data, if I'm working in making medical devices or pharmaceuticals, a different type. That all of those things are pretty well understood anyway. However, there's an element of transparency in all of those businesses, and all of those opportunities to partner. And achieving that level of transparency helps you establish trust.
How do you want to transform this world of governance, risk, and compliance? If you could wave a magic wand, what would you want to see?
What I've always been asked is, just give me a score.
Yeah.
Are you an A, a B, A plus, an A minus? And I definitely spoke with some smart technical leaders that have not been in security that have said, well, I can just calculate a score. And I think if it could be done, if we could just put a letter grade on our overall security program, it would have been done. And that's because of the ever-changing landscape. So now it's about continuous monitoring, which has been around for a long time, but continuous monitoring from an automation standpoint with access to review those things. Now, that in culmination with policy documents and all of the other components that make for the program are going to move us in the right direction. And at the same time, you can sprinkle some machine learning and AI on the top of it. It'll make everybody sound, super intrigued. And obviously with these capabilities, these conversational AIs that are out there, I think the opportunity that is there, the tech is there for us to get there.
I'm going to tell you two words, Myke. And I want you to tell me what comes to mind immediately when I say those two words. You ready?
Let's go.
Security questionnaires.
So I was going out to dinner with my wife and friends, and when I got a phone call from a sales leader who was under a significant amount of pressure. This was not the end of the quarter. It wasn't the last day. I'm not crazy to go out to dinner on the last day of the quarter, which is kind of sad for a security person, but it is what it is. But the quarter was ending in another week or so. But it was Friday and I was headed out. And this company that we had been working with for a while, so on our radar, bank, had given us some questionnaires over some time, and we had been working on them. And we had gone back to the individual who was ultimately going to be the one who's sponsoring us. And they said, just one more thing. You forgot this other questionnaire. I know you've done the 100 question questionnaire, the 75 question questionnaire, but there's this other one that we must get done. And I had a look at it. It's not too bad. Those are my favorite words. All right. Well, if it's not too bad, then maybe you should tackle that. No, the sales leader says to me, well, I was told it wasn't too bad. And they handed us a questionnaire, and it was a multi-100 question questionnaire. And they said, oh, yeah, and the challenge is we have to have this in by Monday. And the responding team has a 2-week SLA to review said multi-100 question questionnaire. And I said, well, they get 2 weeks and I get how long? And they're like, well, it'd be great if we could have it done by Sunday. And unfortunately, the people who worked for me had to get that same phone call from me. Look, it's not our fault. It's not my fault. It's not the sales leader's fault. It's somebody's fault. And sadly, the team had to rally and spread the pain. Going back to my painful comment, spread the pain. In the end, did that company really understand anything else about us? I mean, I'm sure they realized that we could rally.
Yeah.
They learned that. They probably also learned that we were a bit of pushovers when it came to to questionnaires. So perhaps we were going to be pushovers when it came to pricing negotiations.
Yeah.
But I will leave that to the sales podcast.
Myke, in terms of the ability for us as a business to earn the trust of our customers by doing things like answering security questionnaires, showing them that we have a mature security program, and so on and so forth, we love to use this phrase that these are the folks who are trust champions. They are the people that are showcasing to our customers that we do things well. And in your network, I'd love for you to share, are there any CISOs that you've interacted with, that you've looked at and said, wow, that person is a trust champion. They do an amazing job when it comes to representing the security and privacy of their company to the external world?
Yeah, he's probably going to kill me for calling him out, but I think Chris Peak is one of those. Folks. Chris Peak is the CISO over at Smartsheet. I think he's been a great champion of these causes.
And as leaders, Myke, you, Chris, folks like you can't do it alone. You need a team that has to support you to enable that change, bring that transparency, and make the whole process better. In your career, has there been somebody on your team that you've been amazed by how much they want to improve either internal trust on how things operate internally in your company, or external trust in how we showcase our security and privacy program with customers or other external stakeholders?
There's a ton of them. I could name a few, but I feel really horrible missing so many others.
Yeah.
But I would say that, Mona Rao at Calibra, Simon Ralph and her team have been fantastic. The folks at ServiceNow filled with great, solid leaders that have really raised the bar. I think ServiceNow's success in many ways is related to the team over there with Mike Rohde, Bryce Schroeder taking over that business. There's a lot of really great people out there that champion was right for the customer, champion was right for ServiceNow, and not uniquely doing either one or the other, but really focused on overall.
You as a former chef and me being a foodie, so you're on the production side and I'm on the consumption side of that equation. What's your favorite food to eat when you're being stressed out about a security incident or some security-related matter at work?
That's a good question. Maybe I'll answer it this way. What's the worst thing I can eat during an event like that? And that is chocolate-covered espresso beans, of which I have a giant jar over there on my table. Because it gives you that little sugary, chocolatey fix, but the caffeine comes and kicks you in the pants. I would say my favorite thing to eat is there's a dried squid dish, a Korean dried squid packet. It's like a flat pack, very salty, very sweet, and very spicy. And you can just sort of rip it to shreds, and it's chewy, and you can be really mad and kind of gnawing on the thing. And that's probably one of my favorite things to eat when I'm stressed out, because it's so gritty that it doesn't mind as I'm grinding away at it. It'll deal with me. So maybe the fish version of beef jerky would be another way to think about it.
There's some connection around eating something really fishy when you're dealing with a security connection and a security incident. Those two words, there's a meaning there. I don't know what the meaning is, but there is a meaning there somewhere.
Yes, good observation. Put those things together. Sadly, I didn't.
Myke, thank you so much for joining me in this edition of Trust Talks. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sravish. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Myke. Bye.